Are you gonna play a bit?
We'll do that in the amp one. Do that in the amp one.
Oh.
Right? Because then I have to get over and use all my pedals, man.
So then we'll include that at the very beginning.
We should include this too.
Okay. And then intro right now.
Yeah. GEARWHORE! 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 So basically the whole idea with these, as I've discussed in some of the other ones, is my tone quest is rooted in practical application. I've been making records for so many years, playing live for so many years, and just because I'm old as well now, how'd that happen? I don't know, but it happened. I've got a bunch of really specific things that I've been working on with guitars for my entire career, or basses, or amps, or pedals, or anything. And by the time I get to making a video for something, it's because it has solved those problems. So today we're looking at this guitar. It's made by Framus. This is a prototype, and it's currently called the Framus Plank. Now I've done a signature guitar with Framus, the Stormbender. The thing is with that is I've got two projects. I've got that DTP, and I kind of have like the Ghost Casualties of Cool type of thing. And for that I've always used single coil, like a Strat or a Tele. And because I'm working so closely with Framus, they wanted me to play Framus exclusively, which is cool, I get it. But I said, if we're going to do that, we need to really nail the things about those guitars that I like, and then solve the things about them that are posing problems if we're going to have me play those. And so this is what we came up with. So I doodled out this body shape. There's been a couple of modifications that Marcus did, but basically I looked in their old catalog and I found an old Framus guitar that was basically the most rudimentary guitar body that you can think of, and I just wanted to get more of sort of like a modern sort of cut on that lower horn, but make it just a chunk of wood, like it's just a plank, hence the name. And then use the construction techniques from those old Telecasters that I really liked, like an alder body and a quarter sawn maple neck, and single coils, and this sort of whatever that's called, ashtray bridge. But the differences are I put a 12-inch, I wanted a 12-inch radius on the fretboard to give it more of like a modern kind of radius for, you know, I'm just used to that. I really like that radius. And then I asked them to use roasted maple as well. What is roasted maple, you asked? Did you ask? You didn't ask.
What's roasted maple?
Oh, that's a good question. So all those vintage guitars that tend to sound really good, I'd heard the scientific thing is that the sap in the wood crystallizes over 50 years or whatever, and dries out and becomes that guitar over time. So the roasted maple thing is they take this chunk of maple and they put it into a kiln and they cook it, roast it even, at a certain temperature for a certain amount of time, and that sort of rapidly dries out the wood, and it gives it sort of this golden color. And
what does it do for the sound, though?
Well, I mean, for me, I think it actually just sounds, what would be the best way to describe it? Like more friendly, tighter, right? I don't know, maybe it's voodoo juice, but any guitars that I've tried with the roasted maple just seem like a little more active. You know, they seem to resonate more or whatever. And, you know, if you get a brand new chunk of wood that's all sappy and green, I think it's going to sound much different than a dried out chunk of wood. So this is a way to accelerate that. And they did that. And, yeah, it's great. And the body here, they did a sandblast to it to really bring the grain out. But when I got it, it was like, it was kind of relic, but it wasn't like the old barn door that I hoped it would look like. So I took that gray, and I took it over to my dad's wood shop, and we like just sanded it down and put sawdust onto it and ground, you know, wood stain into the grooves and then wiped it off. And it really, between the sandblasting they had done and that sort of Devin dad working in the wood shop kind of vibe. But this guitar now has ended up replacing the Tele for me. And when I went to Framus, when I first talked to them about it, they took me into the wood shop, and this is how wicked it is to have been doing this for so long. I got to choose the chunk of wood. I wanted I was tapping chunks of wood to hear which one sounds. I don't even know if it makes any sense, but I'd like to think.
So you were pretending?
Maybe I was like listening to the wood. And then with the neck as well, because it's quarter sawn, I wanted to find one with like the grain really straight. And again, maybe it's just me being OCD, but those things contribute for me to how I feel about a guitar. And then I also took it and put it in a room where I had a low C note playing and just blasted it with vibration like when I wasn't using it. And I like doing that to guitars in general. I personally think that if a guitar vibrates at a certain frequency, it becomes those frequencies. And they say that having a guitar sit on stage for a long time does the same thing. So that's what I did, and now I've got this guitar that is great. It's a bolt-on neck, and they did this curve for me here, and it's a four bolt thing, through body strings, Grover sort of kidney bean tuners, and they did they used wood to do the little truss rod cover, and then I added the foam myself, and I do that to all the guitars just because I think it sort of eliminates that sympathetic vibration when you're not playing or you're on a big stage. So this guitar, the Framus Plank, they're going to release it at NAMM in 2017, so that's probably already done by now.
How come there's no Evertune in that one?
Because I'm trying to get the vintage vibe with this, and they're not Fishman's in here either. These were these sort of antiqued ones that Bare Knuckles had made for me because Fishman didn't have these at this point, and they're great. I'm working on some with Fishman as well that are actually a little lower gain. I like the output to be a little lower, but it's the same reason why the Evertune isn't in there. It's just I was looking for something that was a little more vintage vibe, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so anyway, Framus Plank, Devin Townsend, GEARWHORE, suck it.